Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV, where we of course on a weekly basis take a look at what's happening in the world of club rugby, Western Bromwich Club Rugby. Big thanks of course to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks, of course on board with Western Bromwich Rugby and the Western Bromwich Club Rugby Sevens. Remember you can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show, as well as a case of bashes instead of Cape Rugby TV masks. Of course MChem 24-hour pharmacy down on the corner of N1 and Durban Road. Show, of course, looking tonight at a number of components involving club rugby and Western Bromwich Rugby. We will be catching up with Danelle Rousseau, again, the DHL Western Bromwich Rugby team manager, women's team manager. This comes, of course, on the back of their successful outing against the EP Queens in Guebera over the weekend. So the Western Bromwich Rugby women's side just going from strength to strength, still unbeaten this season. We'll be catching up with Wilfred Pieterse, the head coach from Masi Pumelele. Jerome Parvater joins us again to tell us what the under-20s are up to. And of course, we'll be catching up with Faisal Felton from Western Bromwich Rugby to give us an update on the situation involving club rugby at the moment. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. That's going to be a fascinating interview. But on the line with me now, Rito Klongwane, the DHL Western Bromwich Rugby forwards coach. Of course, the Currie Cup side sitting at the top of the log at the moment. Rito, nice to have you back, Mania. How are things there with you?
I'm all right, JP. Thanks for having me. It's always nice to be with you here at Cape Rugby TV.
Did you like that introduction? We think of you as a as a player, a club rugby coach. Of course, you know they're in the big leagues, but we like to build up the whole CV before we introduce someone.
No, that's brilliant. I like that. You know, it just shows where I come from, you know, from my playing days and coaching at club. I do like to talk about that now and then, so I'm very happy with that intro.
Well, that's exactly what we're looking for always, is that connection between the club to provincial to national, and if we can show that connection, that's great. So we know that you've got your roots deeply set in the world of club rugby. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand at the moment. Of course, the Currie Cup has just started. You guys, we had Labib on the show last week. The transition now between the Stormers and into the Currie Cup side. How's that going with you?
No, it's going pretty well. It's sort of a bit of an adjustment, considering that, you know, there's been a change of personnel in terms of players. We've got a few guys that have gone up to the Springboks, and we've also been hampered with a bit of injuries. So in total, we've got about 28 guys that are not available. So we've had to sort of adjust with coaching the players that have been coming through the system for a while. A bit challenging, but it sort of requires us to coach a little bit more than when you have the Springboks around.
I know that it's been a very disruptive, obviously 18 months. Nothing has been the same. Everything has been different. Player venues has been different. The competition structure has been different. Your fitness regimes and programs, all that must have been different as well. But nevertheless, you guys are training pretty hard, and you're going from one tournament format straight into another tournament format. Plus, you're playing now, for example, today, Wednesday. Tell us a little bit about that, and how do you guys deal with that from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, look, it's a bit of a challenging schedule at this stage. Obviously, we've just finished the Rainbow Cup, and straight a week after that, we get straight into Currie Cup, and you can see these games are quite stacked up, Saturdays and Wednesdays. We've had to do quite a bit of adapting and adjusting ourselves, and you would know straight after Currie Cup, we get into the United Cup, which was formerly known as the Rainbow Cup. And in between the Currie Cup, we were also playing the British and Irish Lions. So it's quite congested, but you know, I think the fans want to see the rugby on TV because we missed out for a long period of time. But from a coaching point of view, it's sort of challenging, but not in a bad way. We consistently have to adjust and plan adequately to handle these demands that will be on us in the next couple of months. And it also sort of not forces us, but encourages us to build depth in terms of players. So we'll have to dig
Yeah.
deep and involve as many club players and junior players as possible in order for us to be competitive in all these competitions that are coming up. We're not in a position where we can expect, the same 23 to come out every weekend.
It's Curry Cup now. You guys are sitting at the top of the log. Of course, we are pre-recording this, but it is another big game for you guys. Are you guys happy with the performance at the moment of where you're standing? I mean, obviously on the top of the log.
Yeah, look, in terms of log position, we're happy with it. No team will ever say they're not happy with being on top. But in terms of performance, there's a lot of work that we need to do. There's a few areas that would really, really love to improve. Those two fixtures were a bit challenging, mainly because it's always tough to play at altitude. First two games, Bulls, Lions, and the Bulls had a lot of players out, and the Lions were with a strong Rainbow Cup team. But for us to come back with 7 points, we can never complain. But in saying that, there's a lot of work that we still need to do in order to reach our sort of best performance. So we've taken a few steps forward, but we're still far away from where we want to be.
So you got the Sharks the Sharks today. Of course, by now the game would have been finished. What do you make of the teams, the other teams in the Curry Cup? Are people balance? Are the teams balancing out? Are we seeing strong contenders on the cards that might be big challenges?
Yeah, look, this competition, every time there's a competition that happens while the Springboks are away, is sort of a good test of your depth. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll see which teams are prepared in terms of, bringing in their youngsters and club players. But also we need to consider that other teams have lost less Springboks. The Lions haven't. They only have one or two Springboks, if I'm correct. The Bulls have more. We've got probably the most. So there will be teams that will be slightly stronger. And the small unions are your Griquas, Cheetahs, who've been training together for long periods of time, and Pumas are usually quite strong in the Curry Cup because they always pretty much keep the same core group of players. They don't usually have Springboks, so there will be a big challenge going forward. So I think it'll be tough. There won't be any easy games.
Rita, then just a last question. I was privileged enough to join in one of your seminars where you were doing a high performance coaching course for the club coaches. And it was fascinating to watch the detail that you guys go into, the video detail, the viewing of the so on. I'm sure some of that information is trade secret, but great. Do you see that that information that you were doing is something that now should be passed into the club space? Have you got more plans for that type of activity? It certainly does look like it's real high performance stuff.
Yeah, look, I mean, that stuff is quite important, JP. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was a club coach, and I said in a few seminars where back then Med Proudfoot was doing the same thing, and the amount of learning that happened for me personally was, tremendous. And it's something that I think Jerome's done well to sort of implement. And I think it should happen more than sort of once, more than once every quarter, for example. Because, I mean, what happened after I did that presentation, there was a lot of club coaches that reached out to sort of get more information. And I'm very open to that. And I spoke to Jerome about it. We should have a situation where this could almost happen once a month, mainly because now everything is visual. So it takes away that little excuse.
it was just some thinking. From my thoughts around it is that you played for Western Province Rugby, you played for a number of the other unions, and then you came into the club coaching space. So you had the luxury of having experienced the high performance environment, the experience of coaching, at least playing under coaches at that level, and being then exposed to things like video technology and the various aspects of high performance coaching. And it is something that not all coaches have, club coaches have been exposed to. So the information that you were sharing on the day, I think, is something that is particularly valuable for coaches who maybe did not play firsthand at the level that you were at.
Yeah, absolutely, JP. I think for me it was mind blowing as well. I think there was over 110 coaches who jumped on the same night, and Jerome also made the video available for everyone. So it's clearly the coaches took it very seriously, and it shows that there is a need for that. And you know, I think we're in a strong position to consistently offer that kind of coaching seminars, if I may call it, on a regular basis.
Rita, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks very much for chatting with us, and we'll of course say to you guys, stay safe out there. I know it's pre-record today, so good luck against the Sharks, and we'll hopefully again catch up soon. And yeah, we're just again saying good luck and stay safe.
Cool. Thanks a lot, JP. Thanks to everyone that's viewing. Thanks for all the support, and yeah, stay safe, everyone.
There we go, folks. DHL Western Province Rugby forwards coach, Rita Klongwane. Great to chat with Rita. Comes through the ranks and sharing that knowledge that he's got there in the high performance space with the coach. So we're looking forward to when the more of those coaching courses are coming about, or at least those webinars. And of course, we can say today basically. Good luck to Western Province today as they take on the Sharks. By now we'll of course know the result. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we're going to catch up with Nell Rousseau from the DHL Western Province Rugby women's side, and then shortly after that we'll catch up with Jerome Parvater, who'll tell us more about the under-21s. Back in a sec. Hello everybody, welcome back. We carry on talking club rugby and of course the connections from club rugby into Western Province Rugby. So, as you know, of course, a lot of women rugby players coming from various clubs currently playing in the Western Province Rugby women's squad. And, of course, as you know, on a weekly basis, we profile the players, we profile the team, and we do the best we can to give as much coverage as possible around women's rugby. Joining me on the line now is Danelle Rousseau. Danelle's, of course, DHL Western Province Rugby team manager. Danelle, nice to have you back. How are things there with you?
Good evening. It's great. Thanks on your side.
Not too bad. It's okay. Let's focus on you guys. Let's see. We haven't now spoken for a week. It was another successful run for you. You played against the EP Queens in Goibera this past weekend. You're sitting now, I think, 8 from 8. I mean, you guys must be thrilled with the performance.
We are absolutely thrilled, JP. Really, the girls are working so hard, and I'm like stoked and excited beyond like words because we are playing with the rotating squad. What excites me is, you know, some people that follows the streaming or whatever will see that there's a lot of players that's participating, that, you know, that's names that they might not always see pop up. We had players on the bench like Cindy Boy and Zintle Mapupa, and we didn't even play them. So, you know, we're really trying to give our players some opportunity, and things are going great. I mean, we were blessed to come home again with the win. Our half-time score was 15-5, and then full-time score was 41-5. It was 7 tries versus 3 tries. So, yeah, and we've had some exciting things happening on the field.
I've got to ask you about the weather scenario, though, because we look at the one scenario where we're in Cape Town and it's sunny and beautiful at Newlands, and then, of course, the following week you went off to the Boerland where you played against the Boerland side, and it was very hot. And then from there, you're next, of course, back to Cape Town, practicing in the rain, and then going up to Goibera, back into bitterly cold temperatures. How's this been for you guys?
Listen, I'll be honest with you. Saturday was something that me personally, all the years that I've been involved with women's rugby, I've never experienced. The cold was bearable because Cape Town, we are used to having cold, and the cold that we get here like climbs into your bones. But what was absolutely so challenging on Saturday was the wind. Like literally, if you got up from your chair blew away. I couldn't stand with any form of paper. I had to chase everything. The wind was, I can't even explain it to you. I mean, if you would kick off into the wind, the ball would end up 10 meters behind you. So that was very, very challenging, and that's why I say, there's always like the weather conditions plays a very big role. And even with things like that and the climate changes, and like you just said, playing in extremely hot weather and then having a complete change, it is challenging, but the girls, rugby is a winter sport, and apparently it's a windy sport, or a sport that can be played in extremely windy conditions. So yeah, both sides actually struggled with that, because we had to look for alternative ways to play. And I mean, obviously, when you were playing with the wind, it was fantastic. But we started our first half off against the wind, so we had to play a lot, with ball in hand, and that is sometimes it's something that's doable. But it was a bit more scrums, less kick-outs for line, with penalties and things like that. But yeah, it was awesome.
The club connection stays strong. We're still seeing all the ladies are from local clubs. Every time we look at the name of a player, we know where they're from locally. How's the Gees in the team?
The Gees, the vibe is amazing, and it's like in a normal season, when we only play 5 games, possibly 6 games, or like we used to play, there's almost like a gist of players. There's always a gist in the team. So they get used to that. But there's a lot of changes every single week. So we're really functioning as a squad, and we're really interacting, and we're a unit, irrespective of what club you come from. And the local girls are doing extremely well. I mean, there's like a magical thing that happened this weekend, and I would love to share it with you.
Please do.
People would have seen.
I think everybody's just so hungry for information. This is why it's such a blessing just to chat with you, because everybody who's watching the show right now, desperate to be talking rugby, desperate to be thinking about club rugby, their friends, their fans, and that. And I think this is really the fantastic for us right now, is the ability to stay connected. So please go ahead, pour all the information out for us.
I think I can sit and talk to you for hours about each individual player. But something that was very magical this weekend is we've got a player. She plays for a local club, Busy Bee. You would have seen her name several times on the team sheet as Lock. And surprisingly, she played prop for us this past weekend. Wow. I get goosebumps when I say that. And she's performed so well. I am so proud of her. She even scored a try, which makes it, her debut prop game. She scores a try. It was a beautiful try. And then I go back to the fullback, Donnell Snyders, the youngster that came through the under-16 and under-18 ranks, playing senior rugby this year, local girl from Kraaifontein. And she also scored 2 tries. Verushka Grain did fantastic. She's our 30-year-old veteran that's playing wing. She did very well. Shaylin Simons was back on the field. Then we've got someone like Luane Willemse. She is a lock. She stepped in. She played starting lineup. She played a full 80 minutes. I'm super proud of her. She contributed a lot to the scrum. She's also local from Tygerberg Club. You will look at someone like Yonela Pokoloka that is fantastic on lock as well. So everything is just gelling together. You will hear a name, Nokubonga, that has started. She played for the first time again last week. Old player, but only returned to play now. Yeah. She's doing very well. Our loose trio, Shemaine Kaiser was rested this past weekend. We also rested Felicia Jacobs. We had Alicia Willemse in action. She did very, very well. And then we've got another newbie in the team.
We're going to end up going through the whole squad Danelle, we're definitely going to
Just one more. Just one more. One
Yeah.
more. Kimberly. Kimberly is also a new player. She's also playing scrummy, and she's doing very, very, very well. So there's new names, local players that you must really keep an eye on.
No,
So I'm
that's
super
fantastic
stoked.
to
That's why I
hear,
said I
man.
can keep on going for
Yeah.
days.
No, I think that's fantastic, and it's interesting to hear that when you're speaking, you're talking about new, because that means that there's a lot of depth in your squad and a lot of players coming through the ranks, and that's what we're trying to promote, as well as the growth of women's rugby. And so it looks like we're ticking those boxes, and obviously that works well for this. All the credit goes to you guys. Danelle, this weekend, tell us about this coming weekend. You've now got 8 in a row. The Premier League continues, division.
Yes, this coming weekend we are playing against the Sharks at Newlands. It's going to be an early game. It's a 10:30 kickoff. We're very blessed that it's going to be televised this weekend.
Right.
So yeah, the Sharks are the only team this year that we played that we weren't able to get a bonus point against. So I think they're going to come back, blazing guns, because they know that they withheld a bonus point from us previously.
Yeah.
It's going to be different, completely different playing conditions. We're going to play in a bit of rain this weekend. If we look at the weather forecast, where as we were there, we were playing in extremely hot and draining weather. So this weekend, I think, is going to be something very, very interesting, and we're definitely looking forward to some great action on the field.
We know it's difficult times at the moment, especially with the third wave in South Africa.
Yeah.
And from our side, we'll keep following the progress, and we'll catch up with you guys next week, and just say to you all, in the meantime, stay safe out there, and you've got our full support behind you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.
Here we go, folks. Danelle Rousseau, the DHL Western Province Rugby Women's Team Manager, and it's always great to catch up with Danelle. And as she said, so many players coming through the ranks, and that is fantastic. So Western Province Club Rugby players, women's rugby players now coming from even more clubs, as we see Western Province, of course, driving the campaign to grow women and girls sport. And I will remind all of you that if you are watching the show right now, Western Province Rugby is still driving the campaign to make sure that all clubs have a women's representative at the club, so that they can continue that growth strategy. So if you're watching the show right now, find out who is the representative at your club for women's rugby. And if there is no representative yet, then contact Western Province and get signed up. Sign up a representative, so we can keep focusing on women's rugby and help Western Province grow women's rugby. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about club rugby in Western Province. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. It's always great to have you along. And as you have seen at the top of the screen there, we are committed to keeping you connected. We know that club rugby at the moment is postponed. We will wait and see what happens in the future. And quite frankly, folks, most sport out there has been postponed as well. Of course, as you know, the Western Province Rugby under-20s have been very active. And joining me back on the line now, Jerome Parwater. Jerome, hoe lyk dinge daar by jou, meneer?
JP, baie goed. Baie bly. Nou goeie nuus. Die fixtures is uit vir die under-20 competition Currie Cup. So ja, ons het nou iets om na toe te werk.
That's what you've been waiting for. It's been months of preparation, months of keeping the players connected. Lots of disruptions, players going to the under-20s Springbok squad, players going to the Varsity Cup squad. Slowly they're trickling back, and this is what you're aiming for. This is the big, and of course a new season.
Yeah, JP, and also, I mean, it's not good that there's not club rugby now, but as I said to the players yesterday, they're fortunate, the guys from clubs, the non-contracted guys who joined us now with training, they're fortunate to still play. So yeah, we're very happy to have them, and also we know now where to work to, because the fixtures are out, as you say. We start with a bye, and then we start on the 14th of August.
So that's basically 5 weeks away before the first game.
Yeah, and as you were saying, our under-20 guys are playing. They're playing their last game on Saturday. So hopefully there won't be any injuries there. Then we're basically going to give that guys off for a week. Then they must join us, and then yeah, we full swing.
Do you think it's also a question of telling clubs, players that are watching the show right now, the individual players who are now not able to play any friendlies or fixtures at the moment? We of course wait to see what future announcements are depending on how things go with this terrible COVID situation. But is it also, are you also advising players out there at the moment, stay fit, stay conditioned?
Definitely, that's what we want, especially like you say with the under 20 group of guys. You can't play older guys than 20, so it's key for guys to keep fit at the clubs there. And also, I encourage club coaches, if they think there's someone at their club that's good enough to play for province, they can still contact me and say, hopefully there's a guy that can still make it.
It's of course with a view to talent identification and keeping an eye on players that are coming through the ranks, whether it be for this year or next year or even going forward. I suppose there must be some thinking around your side and some of the other coaches in the structures that you work with of who's coming through the ranks, even at the ages of under 16 or under 17.
Yes, exactly. It's tough time for schools now to identify that guys now, because they're not playing and they haven't been playing for 2 years now. So hopefully we're gonna start, especially the school programs, to get that guys busy again. But yeah, obviously we know the guys at the clubs. We did that exercise, but sometimes we miss a player, and like I said, the coaches are more than welcome to contact us and say, look at this guy, there might be opportunity.
Jerome, speaking to Rito, and when we were looking at Rito, and the part of the conversation there was he played for Western Province, he coached at club level, then eventually into the Currie Cup squad and into the Stormers squad. So as a club coach, he was let's say he was pointing out the fact to us also that as a club coach, the information that you guys have as high performance coaches is quite invaluable for club coaches who maybe did not play for Western Province. Is that something that you guys have identified as a level of information transfer that you would like to be seeing move into the club space?
Yeah, obviously we always do this sessions, and we always share with the club coaches. And look, and it doesn't have to. It's not always like you have to be play provincial rugby to be a good coach. There's a lot of coaches who haven't played provincial or Springbok rugby, so there are opportunities. It's just taking in the information, go back to your club, work hard, and we obviously will have a look at you. It depends on how your club is doing and what type of work you're doing at the club.
When we had our previous engagements with you, also you had done some workshops with schools coaches. You had your Rugby 2.5 courses that you were doing. Of course, when one is applying these, not everybody has the same resources. Not everybody is going to be using video technology. Not everybody is going to be doing high performance sports nutrition. The resources are limited. But when we were looking at your 2.5 course, you were emphasizing many different components in your course, and one of them seemed to be that planning and preparation is important, and is probably the most important for a coach to have success. Is that the type of thinking also that you're building into the club space, where you're teaching clubs that it's more than just blowing a whistle? There has to be some strategic thinking.
Exactly, JP. I think the days are gone that the coach just arrive at the field and tell a guy, listen, run twice around the field, play a bit of touch rugby, and then we see what we're going to do. Your planning is the most important thing these days, JP. And not to say like in the past it was wrong, but now with modern technology, you can do a lot of things. You can actually send your players your weekly schedule. You can go as far as sending them the monthly schedule. So the planning is the most important thing, and you just get a happier player because you know how to play in his week, you know how to play in his month. So I think that's the way forward.
I suppose also today with technology being on WhatsApp messages and SMSs and so on, I'm not sure if they had WhatsApp and SMSs back in your day, but today it's of course able to do it.
We did not have JP. I was working when I played Western Province. I was working. So then in the evenings when I get home, my mom said, Western Province phone that you must go train tomorrow. So that is how.
I just want to know, Jerome, when she phoned, could you actually hear the phone? Did you have to pick the phone up off the wall? Like, was it a proper handset? Like something that you picked up, or was it?
Yeah, you picked up like it was on a house phone.
So
my mom,
did the phone still have a dialing thing where you dialed it in a circle?
Yeah, she still had that thing, but then obviously she's so excited to tell me that like Western Province called that you must go train, that she can't wait. Like when she's standing off in the street, then I know there's good news.
This is of course Tannie Ina.
Yeah. So,
yes.
So that was the good days, JP. But like we said now, with technology, you can do a lot.
Jerome, we'll leave it at that. We're looking forward to catch up again soon. Of course, very keen to see what the under-20 squad looks like and how the guys are doing.
Yeah, hopefully we're always in a final with the under-21s or with, hopefully this year we'll do the same with the under-20s.
Yeah, Jerome, thanks for that. We'll of course say to you and everybody else out there, stay safe. And we look forward to positive news on a daily basis.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerome. There we go, folks. Jerome Paarwater, under-20s, and we're looking forward to finding out what is going to come next with the under-20 squad, and looking forward to them getting back. Of course, things are difficult at the moment, but nevertheless, good to see our under-20s heading towards the Currie Cup fixtures now. Right, folks, as you know, on a weekly basis, we take a look at what's happening at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. And of course, on a weekly basis, you have an opportunity to do a public review of your experiences at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. And we have now gone back to taking a look at some of the public reviews. And this week's review come in from Annabi Maritz. And Annabi gave MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy a 5-star rating. And she goes on to say, MChem bly die beste, vriendelike mense en pryse is billik. Ek gaan elke maand vir die laaste 18 jaar na die apteek vir my maandelikse medikasie. Die personeel en die aptekers was nog altyd goed vir my. Geen ander apteek is beter as MChem nie. Die haarsalon, die skoonheidssalon en die eetplek op die eerste vloer is ook wonderlik. That's of course a 5-star rating from Annabi Baritz, who has recently done a public review on MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. And folks, we'll of course remind you that MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy is in fact open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you would have heard me say many times, free parking outside, convenient, and the staff are just so helpful. Remember, don't forget to get your flu vaccination while you are, of course, at MChem. And there's no waiting, no queues. You can just walk straight in. Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to be carrying on talking about club rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Nice to have you along. It's, of course, cold out there, and we trust that you are trying to stay as warm as possible. But we will keep you try, at least from our side, to keep you as entertained and as connected as possible under these difficult conditions. And we know that clubs are not playing at the moment, and in fact, most sport has been suspended in South Africa. But we, as I say, we try and stay connected. You will, of course, remember we spoke to Wilfred Pieterse from Masiphumelele a few months ago, if not a few weeks ago, now referred to as Spirit Masiphumelele. Wilfred is, of course, head coach at Masi. Wilfred, nice to have you back on the show, Meneer. How are things there with you guys?
Thank you, JP. Thank you for welcoming me back. Things are going, it's good, man. I'm always positive, but I'm also optimistic. You know, we're in the middle of the beginning again. When we first started this, they said 3 weeks. Now we suspended for 2 weeks. So there's a lot of questions. Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be 3 weeks? But like I say to my players, let's take it minute at a time. Let's live in the moment, that we don't miss the moment.
That's a no. Well, I was going to say that's a fantastic spirit. Now that brings me to my next question. Of course, I have been informed that we must now refer to Masi Phumelele as Spirit Masi Phumelele. What's the story behind that?
Yes, we've got a look. Even in these tough times, a couple of months ago, we got hold of Rassie, the Springbok coach. And he came down to the club and we had a fundraiser. With this fundraiser, we've signed a new sponsor in the tough times. So the club is going in the right direction. The tough thing with Masi is we never had lights, and with the committee that's working at the club now, very much hands-on. People go out and they do what they need to do. They focus on getting the club back to the level where it used to be. So they got hold of Rob van Vieren. He was running the thing. It was amazing. We raised enough money, so now we have lights. So now we can actually train from normally our training had to stop at like 7:30. Now we can train till about 8:30, so we have an extra hour. And then lockdown came out of our control. Now we're back to lockdown. Tough times.
It's as if the hits just don't stop coming. I mean, it's every time you guys get out of the starting blocks, you're just about to get the momentum going. Something else hits. Of course, we remember that devastating fire that you guys managed to also pull together and raise funds for. COVID comes along. It's these ups and downs, Wilfred. I mean, how do you guys deal with that?
Look, man, that's the thing about the community clubs. It's Ubuntu. It's where people are really still looking after each other. And I think not that we are privileged. I think it's a good thing that we are still seeing what is really happening down there at the bottom. So if we at the bottom are not going to look after each other, we might be the only people that's looking after each other. No one will look after each other. So I'm sure that we'll take it one day at a time. We've been through tough times before. They say tough times don't last. It's tough people. The toughness that we are struggling with is the mental toughness, things that we don't see, which is very important at a community club like Masi. Guys come there not just for the rugby, but it's way more than rugby. So when the club's doors are closed, those people don't have a place to go to, and that's where me as a coach, getting to know them now, are a little bit worried. But what can we do?
Well, let's take a step back. If we look at where we were a few months ago when we last spoke to you, you were trying to keep the players active off the field, giving them training programs, getting them to go run on the beach, and then of course, so you were dealing with it. You found ways to keep the players connected. You found ways to keep them fit. Of course, you were itching to get them on the field, yes. But you did eventually make that transition. So you managed to keep them connected, keep them healthy and fit up to a point, and then you got them onto the field. So you've walked this road before, but tell us just how exciting was it going back, 3 months now, where you were allowed to do that first 4-week phase?
Yeah, JP, thank you for just reminding me, for taking me back. I think we take for granted the small little things. I remember on how itchy we were to get onto the field, and we didn't get onto the field. And now that we got back onto the field, it was amazing. Just the buzz at the club, even though we couldn't. Oh yeah, my boys, yeah. Just
well,
stepping.
You're going to have to show us. You're going to have to show us that we all know that we are doing online at the moment. This is your baby, of course?
Yeah, that's little James. James is joining us. So James was very excited to have dad at home on a Tuesday, Thursday night. But it was nice to get out there. It was a good gears, even though we couldn't go inside the clubhouse. We had to foresee as the COVID regulations. But man, it was amazing. And just when we started going, we had another game against Retreat. We pumped them. So far, I'm unbeaten, just beating Retreat.
Wilfred, fantastic to see young James there. We're of course assuming that young James is going to be a player for Masi one day. Has he got aspirations yet for which position he's going to be playing?
Yeah, James is his father was a scrum half, and he's going to be a 10. So either going to be first receiver or second receiver. That's any dad's dreams. But if he wants to play rugby, he will be an amazing rugby player.
Tell us a little bit about the players at the moment, captains. In fact, tell us a little bit about your management team at Spirit, Massey. You obviously got a management team as well. We keep thinking about the players, but on the other side, there's also a management team that has to keep trying to keep the wheels turning. Coaches, managers, physios, and so on. How's your management team doing?
Look, the management team is it's a bunch of great individuals. It's people that really have the club's needs at their heart, so they're going the extra mile. We also have a food run at Massimo Pumalele where they look after our juniors. So where they're very active with the schools that's closing now. Normally the juniors got their meals from school, those 2 meals, and some of them that's the only food that they get. So the committee stay involved with the feeding schemes and making sure that they get Massey on the map, because with Massey is it's difficult. It's not just Massey, it's Massey, Ocean View, and Fish-Hoek. So we are a nice broad community. So I think that was make us nicely diverse, nicely mixed race, and that what makes the club so close to my heart. I think this was one of my deepest dreams for South Africa to be like that. So the committee is amazing. Like you say, in these tough times, they managed to raise some funds. They managed to even get us a new sponsor, and the new sponsor on board is for the next 3 years. So there's hope. There's light in the end of the tunnel. We just got to keep moving forward. If we get to the light, I'm sure we'll all have fun together.
Well, Fred, we'll leave it at that. Your spirit is engaging.
Thanks,
we'll
brother.
say to you and young James there, thanks for joining us. And we, of course, wish you guys, well, all the very best out there. Congratulations on your sponsorship. Congratulations on the lights. It is one of the things that everybody dreams about, and of course we'll say the most important thing to you guys right now is stay safe out there, and give our very best to the players and management.
Thank you, JP, and thank you for keeping us connected in a way like this. I know the fans enjoy this, at least for us to interact. So well done to you and your team. Keep it up, man.
Well, folks, there we go. Wilfred Pieterse, of course, always smiling, and I think that's exactly what it is that we're looking for from club coaches. He leads with such enthusiasm, such good spirit, and well, there we go now, spirit, Massey Pumalele, and infectious in his enthusiasm. And as a coach, that's exactly what we need at the moment, to be able to carry us and our players and our clubs through these very difficult times. Right, folks, well, as you know, Score Energy Drinks is, of course, on board with Western Province Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. So, as you know, on a weekly basis, we give you an opportunity to win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks. We've now, though, turned it into a triple hamper. That in addition to the case of Score, and there you see the logo behind me right now, in addition to the case of Score Energy Drinks, you can also win a case of Bash Shoes, and we give you a set of Cape Rugby TV masks in this triple hamper. So on a weekly basis, all you do is go to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and answer a very simple question. The question that we asked you for this week was, who won the 2019 season for Women's Club Rugby, the Women's League? Who won the competition in 2019? And of course, the answer to that, if you've been watching the show for the last few weeks, the answer to that is, of course, Busy Bees. Busy Bees women's rugby side were the winners of the 2019 Women's League. So congratulations then to Garth Lewis. Garth, you walk away with a set of Cape Rugby TV masks, as you know, and of course a case of Bash Shoes and a case of Score Energy Drinks. So congratulations, Garth. We'll be reaching out to you on Facebook Messenger so that you can come collect your prize. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of club rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's, of course, Cape Rugby TV. Every week we talk about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Well, of course, as you know, at the moment, sport has been pretty much suspended. The president has come out and made certain statements about level 4, but the announcement did come out a while back that club rugby is suspended until further notice. So we will, of course, wait those announcements. But to tell us more about that, we've got Faisal Felton from Western Province Rugby on the line with us. Faisal, welcome back. Difficult conditions at the moment.
Good evening, JP. Good evening, listeners. Yeah, no, definitely. I think we were all looking forward to get out there and get back on the park. But unfortunately, the regulations and that there, does not allow it. I think from our side, it's, doing the right thing and, ensuring the safety of, our players, our spectators, our, people out there is more important. So I think from a union side, I think, we've looked at everything in terms of, having a season. I think it is still possible. So in terms of, the next couple of, days and weeks in terms of trying to manage the situation, I think for us is more important and crucial than anything else.
So in a nutshell, at the moment, there are no season fixtures currently scheduled. The season that was going to start, I think 2 weeks ago, currently is suspended until further notice.
Yeah, there was a proposal, or at least a discussion that was had with clubs, looking at starting on the 17th of July. Again, that will obviously from the union side, we'll have a discussion with the clubs in terms of what currently is happening and what's happening around us. And I think from a fixtures point, I'm sort of on hold until I sort of get the guidance and direction from the clubs in terms of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of fixtures, for now, it's sort of on hold.
And Faisal, just for clarity's sake, the same currently applies to practice sessions and friendly matches.
100% JP, that's on hold as well in terms of training and practicing sessions.
Difficult times, of course, for all sport around the world and for everybody, and of course this is having an impact on everybody, all sport codes. But at Western Province Rugby, you walked this road last year. You had good understanding of how to stay connected with your members. You immediately last year went into gear with many workshops, online workshops, high performance workshops, and various ways to make sure that your administrators and players are staying connected. Are you now going to be looking at shall we say, kickstarting it again in a similar manner?
No, definitely, JP. I think that's, something, yes, we on the field and we enjoy and we play the game, but I think off the field, from a club perspective, we've got a role to play, whether, it's training of administrators, having a better understanding in terms of the running of a club, from a player perspective, in terms of, that social aspect. So I think from a union side, that is somewhere we're definitely going to focus on, is the upskilling of, our administrators, upskilling in terms of the running of clubs. So the workshops is definitely going to be a major role and play a major role in terms of, now that there's no rugby happening on the field, we'll have more online workshops, virtual workshops. I think that's one area, as I said before, where COVID has really, taught us a lot, is the virtual meetings that we've had, and we're able to have a lot more, within, a short space of time. So from that angle, workshops, training is going to be our focus. There will still be activities and stuff happening.
Faisal, one of the workshops that you will be starting the ball rolling with, and this starts next week, is around membership recruitment, membership rejuvenation. This must be, of course, particularly important for you guys and the club structures out there in terms of staying connected with their members, and a service that you're not providing to the clubs and that they can then deliver to their members.
Definitely, JP, it's a major concern for us. I think, we have been without rugby now for the last year and a half. So we need to start thinking out of the box in terms of how we're going to capture that audience again. So, one of the areas I think the last couple of weeks we focused on is the playing aspect in terms of getting back to training, and when it comes to, fitness. So from a player perspective, getting that idea that there is stuff happening. But I think from a point of the broader spectrum in terms of the numbers and trying to capture, that audience of spectators and people again is key, and it's a focus. So I think from the union side, we need to start building again, building the groundwork, putting the groundwork and building the framework in terms of getting the players out there, getting our spectators, getting our administrators from an education perspective. So our drive for the next couple of weeks is going to be on workshops and that there. So there might not be rugby in the field, but we're definitely going to be active and be busy for the next couple of weeks.
Fundraising is of course important for clubs as well, Faisal, that every club themselves, and I know that you guys delivered the media marketing and sponsorship workshops last year, which now sees in excess of 50 administrators, club administrators actually qualified, should we say qualified, under the guidance of Western Province Rugby as media marketing and sponsorship gurus. So funding and sponsorship is vital for clubs. Are you feeling strong that clubs will now are in a position to find different ways to approach local business, especially we're also looking at at the outreach project scenario? But you guys must be feeling positive that clubs have got the tools now to reach out to local business for support.
No, definitely, JP. I think the marketing and sponsorship workshops have helped us tremendously in terms of having a better understanding, and in terms of what the market out there is looking for, and in terms of how do we attract and how do we communicate and how do we get there. But I think one of the key elements, and one of the strong points of Western Province Club Rugby and community as a whole is the community and the support that we have, within our structures. And I think one of the strong points now is having these, marketing, media, sponsorship, people that have got the qualifications now having to come together and working together. I think it's about sharing ideas and trying to see how we can best, go out there into the market. I think the key thing is that each club, it has various communities, and it's how they tap into that community, that area, that business. Everybody is struggling, yes, but I think there's definitely, the support out there in terms of, from a community perspective. It's just a matter of us working together and trying to find a solution as to how we get out there and trying to understand we're all struggling, we all need to help each other, and I think that's key.
Thanks, Faisal. We'll leave it at that. Of course, we're looking forward to future announcements, and in the meantime we will say to you and everybody else out there, stay safe, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you, JP.
There we go, folks. Faisal Felton, Western Province Rugby, and of course, as you know, everything is suspended at the moment in terms of fixtures and friendlies, and we will wait to see what announcements comes in the future. At the moment, the most important priority is, of course, the health and safety of the individuals out there, everybody out there, and of course, we urge all of you to abide by those protocols. And so I will leave you on that final note to remind you to please to observe the health and safety protocols, to make sure that you wash your hands at all times, to make sure that you practice social distancing at all times, and of course I remind you to wear a mask at all times, and to do so in the right way. When you wear this mask, please do not wear it only over your mouth. The mask must cover your mouth and your nose. Make sure that you put the mouth over your nose and your mouth. This is very important. We're all in this together, and we will keep fighting this COVID virus. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. A fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.